so let's head to the next room. Move. Kazuma's cabin. A cabin on the SS, Buria. And the scene of the crime. Kazuma was occupying this cabin for the voyage of Britain along with me as a stowaway. Kazuma's quarters. First-class passageway. The passageway that connects the first-class cabins on the SS Buria. The first and foremost, we need to get out of this cabin. 9th January, 7:48 a.m. SS Bureau. First-class cabin, passageway. Whew, I'm finally out of that cabin. I have to admit, this isn't quite what I was expecting. It's less spacious out there than I thought it would be, and this is the most luxurious accommodation. Yes, indeed. Kazuma-sama was being sent on the study tour by the government. That's why he was being put up in a first-class cabin. Even so, this is about twice as large as my accommodation in the steerage. Really? That must be awful. Oh my gosh, random guy. Oh, look over there. There's another crewman keeping watch, and he looks enormous, even if he is sitting down. The door next to him leads to the second-class accommodation. I suppose he is making sure that no one comes in here who shouldn't. I suppose. Like people in handcuffs? Naruhodo-san, you look like a little boy visiting a toy shop for the first time. I would have thought you've been used to the ship by now. We've been at sea for 2 weeks already. Well, yes, I know, but the thing is, I was inside Kazuma's trunk when I first came aboard, and ever since I've been shut up inside that little wardrobe. It must have been a very trying time for you. Please, don't give me that pitying look. Alright, he's in. Let's see. Maybe we can try talking to this guy, see what he has to say. Excuse me, but could I ask you something? You little stowaway murderer. That wasn't a good start, was it? Alright, let me try instead. Good day, Mr. Sailor. I'm so sorry to trouble you, but could I perhaps ask something of you? You little third-class lady's maid? Oh. We seem to have caught the sailor on a bad day, Susato-san. I am not sailor. My mother gave me a name. I am senior crewman, beef stroganoff. The best thing is to just avoid eye contact, I think. First class cabin area. Mr. Stroganov, about this first class cabin area. Here we are in the finest part of Buria steamship for very important reasons. What sort of very important reasons? Government officials, kings and queens traveling in secret, many important persons. That is why I'm always guarding this place. Gosh, that's amazing. But somehow, I let the stupid stowaway inside. I want to pick up and throw you in the ocean, but Stroganov is not animal. Thank you? If I may, I was wondering, is the cabin next to Mr. Asogi's currently occupied? No. That's what I'm assuming that says, anyway. Susato-san, did you understand that? It sounded like, da. I think it's probably Russian for yes or no. Genius. Is not permitted to visit other cabins without invitation. Well, it sounds like there's somebody in the next door cabin at least. Yes, it's tantalizing. Passenger in the next door cabin. Could you tell us who's traveling in the cabin next to Mr. Asogi's? His name is Mr. Grimsby Roylott. Grimsby? Grimsby? Probably Grimsby Roylott. He's a very important Western gentleman. A Western gentleman? Do not think about it. He has nothing to do with murder of student's boy. How can you be so sure about that? Mr. Roylott is authentic Western gentleman. Such a man would have no interest in lowly student from insignificant Far East Islands. That was harsh. Could you tell us when Mr. Roylott came aboard? That is not your business. Come to think of it. Even though we've been at sea for 2 weeks now, and I've been in Kazuma's cabin the entire time, I never once heard anything from the next door cabin, or even felt like anyone's there. Well, presumably, since this gentleman is occupying one of the first-class cabins, he must be rather important, is that right? That is not your business. Are you on watch here all the time, Seaman Stroganoff? All time. So criminals like you cannot come in or get out. I wonder, could you tell us anything about last night at all? It's about student boy. Were you on... Hold on. It is sad about student boy. Were you on watch last night as well? Of course. Did you notice anything at the time? Anything unusual? Susato-san, did you understand that? It was clearly a no. I saw nothing unusual. Nothing at all. You didn't hear any strange noises or sense anything was wrong in some way? Look at him. He's nervous. I can tell in those eyes. I said no! Sorry. I'm not so sure. I've sworn that he wouldn't catch my eye for a moment there. This is enough. I cannot say more now. Oh. It's time for me to report to Captain. You must return to Captain. Yes, alright. Bulkhead to second class area is staying locked at all times. You escape when the lobster whistles on top of the mountain, or, as the English say, when the pigs fly. Yes, I understand. Good. Now we can investigate this area properly, shall we? Definitely. Alright, let's take a look around. That's the way to the second class area of the ship. Is something wrong? I was thinking about making a run for it, just for a moment. Things aren't exactly going well for me. I might be wrong, but I imagine the moment you reach for the handle of the door, that burly seaman would surely shoot you dead. Oh dear, I'm sorry. Perhaps I went a little too far there. No, I just started with my talk of running away. And there's no way I could run away while Kazuma's death remains a mystery anyway. Oh, that's not a thing. That's not a thing. This is a thing, though. That book on the top of the table there is really huge, and there's a pen with it, too. Yes, I'm sure that's a ship's log. Shall we have a little look through it? The writing is so neat and precise. Every detail about the voyage has been meticulously recorded. You wouldn't expect a rough and ready sailor to have such a beautiful handwriting. Anyway, look here. Last night's log is mostly blank. Presumably that means there was nothing to report. Interesting. Interesting. He just chose not to report it. Or he was colluding. This looks like a plan of the SS Buria. It shows each deck. Look. The Buria is a large-scale steamship with a triple-skinned hull. What a marvel of engineering. Well, it's been playing on my mind for a while now, actually, but... How is it that such a huge lump of metal doesn't just sink to the bottom of the ocean? Oh, that's really quite simple, Naruhoto-san. It is? Well, consider the Japanese archipelago. The islands of Japan? Yes, they're not metal, but they are enormous lumps of earth many, many times larger than this ship. And they don't sink, do they? They've been floating happily on the sea since the gods created them. Well, I suppose so. Hilarious. Okay, what's over here? Let's take a look. We'll look at our door. First class cabin number 1. Yes, that's our cabin. Not our cabin, it's Kazuma-sama's. Sorry? Your accommodation is confined to the wardrobe inside the cabin. You know how to make a stowaway feel small, don't you? As small as the wardrobe I've been calling home. These cabins are the finest on the ship. My own cabin is steerage number 539, by the way. 500 and... How many cabins are there? Very big ship. What do you think this is? It's a very pleasing shape, isn't it? That's the emergency alarm. It's probably best not to touch it. Oh, an alarm. It says, press only in times of emergency. Looks as though it sets alarm bells ringing all over the ship and brings the vessel to a complete stop. Oh, this I have to see. What are you doing, Naruhodo-san? You mustn't touch it. But this is an emergency situation. Just look at these handcuffs. You know full well that's not what the alarm is for. If you were to bring this vessel to a standstill for no good reason, you'd be in an even worse situation. Huh. I wish everything would just stop. This ship included. You have to do something foolish. At least make it something that doesn't affect everyone else. Ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha. Alright, I guess we're checking this door now. This is it. This is the cabin next to ours, the one the ventilator connects to. Yes, the ventilator from which Kazuma-sama wrote that he saw a speckled band emerging. Maybe whoever's in this cabin can help solve that particular mystery. Let's ask. Oh. Poof, poof. Let me get some water. No answer. We're out of luck, it seems. There's no one in there to help with our inquiries. How annoying. Ah! What was that? It came from inside the cabin. Such a high-pitched scream. It must have been a woman. Stand aside. I'm about to break the door down. Mr. Sholmes! I shan't be stopped. When the fit is on me, I revel in kicking doors off their hinges. Please, wait, Mr. Sholmes. The door doesn't appear to be bolted. It doesn't? Then how the deuce can I dispatch this muscular urge? What, pray, can I kick? I think we should go in. There's no time to think about stress relief. Kaboosh. Almost forgot how to do bridge shot. 9th January, as if Bury, first class cabin number 2. Oh my god. It's the assassin. Who are you? Western gentleman? This man looks Russian to me. We heard a woman scream. A woman? Don't be absurd. As you could see, there's nobody but me in this cabin. True, this old man does appear to be the only person here. But in that case, who just screamed? Get out, all of you. No. Please excuse the intrusion, but... You're Mr. Grimsby Roylott, I believe? Yes, that's me. And you are? I'm the one and only. Oh my gosh, I totally forgot how to do this. I am the one and only, the actual Sherlock Holmes. You've heard of me, no doubt. No. I'm a great detective among great detectives. One who adorns the covers of popular magazines, no less. So I assure you, you may trust me completely. This man uses that magazine like a business card. A detective? I do not trust detectives. We distinctly heard a scream emanating from within these walls. But there wouldn't appear to be a lady concealing herself within the wardrobe this time. So might I be so bold as to ask you to open that small traveling case? What? Don't be stupid. How could anyone fit in a small trunk like that? Well, it's quite fashionable these days, is it not? Traveling inside one's trunk. Don't look at me. What? Oh my. Did you see that, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes. The case just shook. Leave, now. Otherwise, I call the steward. So this is Kazuma's neighbor, Mr. Grimsby Roylott. There's no doubt about it. This strange Russian man's hiding something. There's something inside that thing. Ah! I couldn't agree more. Let's see if we can find some clues before that burly sailor returns. Okay. Doesn't this guy look the same? Oh, almost. Let's examine it first. Oh, why are you sitting in there? Do you have a moment, please, Mr. Sholmes? You need to only address me as Sholmes. That's what I just did, isn't it? Well, Mr. Sholmes, what were you doing in there? Why, I was resting, of course. Resting? Indeed, I was contemplating on a sea voyage from the confines of the wardrobe whilst waiting for the inevitable time that you would need to call my great powers of detection into service. Oh! And it would seem that the hour is upon us now. The time has come. Now, am I mistaken? Oh, well, no. Actually, you're spot on for once. Observe closely. Our Russian host in his cabin, Mr. Roylott, is clearly trying to hide something. Do you know what is the most effective weapon to use against a Russian hiding a secret? Why? The truth, of course. Though it should be pointed out that such methods are not exclusively for the Russians. Right. Can you imagine how the Russian will react when the secret he guards so closely is exposed? Would you like to witness it? Oh yes, please! Well then, what you're about to see may well astound you. For I am about to apply my great detective's greatly advanced deduction to the case. Could this man be a more hackneyed portrayal of a dubious Russian, I ask you? What? From time to time, it occurs to me. Is the fellow dubious on account of his Russianness, or Russian on the account of his dubiousness? I really don't think either of those things should be occurring to you or anyone. That's right, and Mr. Sholmes? I know this man's beard and dark glasses are hard to ignore, especially on first meeting, but I once read, it is a capital mistake to theorize before you have all the evidence. It biases the judgment. I must have complete silence. What are you doing? Why are you peering at my face like that? Ah, just as I thought. Yes, I've quite made up my mind now. There can be no other explanation that accommodates all the facts. Mr. Roylott, I've reached two incontrovertible conclusions. What do you mean? Number one, your true identity is that of a villain. Using those shears, you are about to end the existence of something most dear. Are you not? Huh. And number two, the other conclusion I have drawn. You are, at this very moment no less, in the midst of committing a most grievous crime. Beneath that beard, your mouth quivers with nervous tension as you realize you have been discovered. Does it not? Ugh! Whoa, another oversun! I never imagined I would witness one of Mr. Sholmes' great deductions with my own eyes. That was a great deduction. Nothing can deceive Mr. Sholmes. In a single glance, he can deduce all there is to know about a person. What? What ineffable twaddle. Oh, yes. I've read about it countless times in the adventures of Sherlock Holmes. And now I've experienced the astonishing impact of this great deduction firsthand. This is like a dream come true. I can hardly believe it, but all the color has drained from Mr. Roylott's face. It looks like somehow both of Mr. Sholmes' conclusions were right. How could you? How could I possibly know such things? You wish to say? Very well then. I shall elucidate. I shall explain how it was that I arrived at this pair of conclusions. So do I cordially invite you upon a journey of logical discovery. Let us board the train of reasoning. Put plainly, let us walk through my deductions together. Whoa. The great deduction. The game is afoot. Topic 1. Old man's identity. Whoa, this is cool. So, the dubious looking Russian, Mr. Roylott. Obviously, what catches the eye in the first place? Oh my gosh, this is so cool. This enormous pair of shears in your hand. Now, we ask ourselves, what could you possibly want with such an implement? The answer, of course, is staring us in the face. You are on the verge of using the shears to cut away the copious beard you sport. Now, moving on. Oh my gosh. The question then begged is this. Why would you desire to rid yourself of this magnificent beard, Mr. Roylott? Once again, the answer is plain. We have clear evidence to shed light on the matter. Regard, if you will, this morning's newspaper, in particular, the fascinating front page article, which it would appear you have read also, Mr. Roylott. I'm sure it needs no further clarification. Evidence that reveals your true identity is an article about the revolutionary. In translation, the headline reads, Revolutionary villain Borisov flees Russia via Shanghai. And you cannot fail to observe, the subject of the article possesses an extremely copious beard. Having noted the article yourself, you decided to remove your incriminating facial hair before it gave you away. In short, your true identity is beyond doubt. You are the fearsome Russian revolutionary princess, villain Bolshevik. Not that I've heard of you myself, you understand. Revolutionary on the run. Wrongdoing. Now, as for my second conclusion, you are at this very moment on the brink of committing a most grievous crime. And for the proof of this crime, over here, over there. Oh yes, Mr. Roylott. Taken unawares, people have a propensity to let their eyes stray, you see. Ah, and I assure you, the eyes speak so much more eloquently and honestly than the mouth. Yeah, so we see lies where the furtive glance falls. The proof of your crime sits before our very eyes. See, that's a traveling case. It is time, I think, that the case be opened and its contents laid bare. No, I refuse. What could you possibly be concealing inside, we ask? By my estimation, a young lady, perhaps. One slight enough to fit therein. Don't be absurd. And what, pray, with the identity of this young lady in the travelling case? Dear me, you're not well suited to a life of crime, all. Your careless hoop, Diol betrayed you. Once again, we need only to follow your furtive glance to find the answer. Yes, the reason you refuse to open your travelling case can equally be found in the pages of this newspaper. But there is another, most stimulating article. If you turn from the fleeing revolutionary to the back page. Renowned prima ballerina of Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. Such a headline can lead us to but one conclusion. Your crime is that of abduction. And according to the article, the young lady's name is Nikolina Pavlova. Kidnapping of a young ballerina. What a conclusion. That thus concludes Sherlock Holmes' great deduction of this Russian enigma, Elemensky. Elemensky. Ha ha ha. So is that the sun? That wasn't one of the great deductions I've been hearing so much about, was it? Well, the stories are full of Mr. Sholmes' brilliant deductions, you know. But that did seem a little different somehow. Excuse me, Mr. Sholmes, could you come over here a moment? Pray, what can I do for you? It's about your deductions, would you mind? Not at all, go on. Well, to start with, here's a newspaper article. I think we had the same discussion before, but these two men look nothing like each other. Oh yes, I recall our discussion earlier, and at the time, I believe I told you. The man is a revolutionary, well able to revolutionize his own appearance. In fairness to Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Roylott does look more like this man than you do. That's not the point. And another thing, the part about him abducting the ballerina? Indeed, a truly startling revelation. At first glance, the case would appear too small to accommodate him. No, just at first glance, it is too small, clearly. You'd be lucky to fit a 5-year-old child into that case, even if you push really hard. I don't suppose the missing ballerina is a 5-year-old child, is she? You mean you don't know? No, the young lady is 15. No, I didn't know. How could I? Well, if she's 15, then 10 years worth of her would be poking out from the case. Some years ago, I read something pertinent, I believe. A troop of men consuming vinegar daily in order to promote a certain liveliness in their bodies. Vinegar? For such a sour bunch, it would surely be simplicity itself to contort oneself with the confines of that small case. Oh dear. You might be thinking of the contortionist in the circus, Mr. Schultz. Ugh, this whole thing is turning into a circus. Mr. Naruhodo, something has occurred to me about Mr. Schultz's deductions just now. I think his powers of observation are, well, magical. His eyes cut to the heart of the matter, almost instantly. It's just where he directs his attention and his logic that seems a little off. Your idea of a little, maybe a little off, Mr. Sento. There's just one or two key words in his deduction that seem to let him down. So I was wondering, we might perhaps tactically switch them for alternatives. What do you think? Switch some key words into his deductions. Yes, but very tactfully. I feel sure if we could do that, we'd unlock the true genius of Mr. Sholmes' great deduction. Precisely the thought that was going through my own mind. This man is a lot of work. At times, I wonder how anyone puts up with me. Ha 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 ha. It's not that funny. Ah, and you, my good fellow. Sorry? Take a moment to look at your wrists. My wrists? Yes. Where are your handcuffs? Huh? How did... I felt that they may hinder your ability to follow me in our fancy deduction. I don't believe it. Mr. Sholmes, you are a marvel. And don't worry. I shall restore the shackles to your wrists when we are finished. I'm not worried, in fact. I'd rather stay like this. So, let us begin. Herlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. Oh, course correction. Ha ha ha. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. Mata! The old man's identity. So, the dubious-looking Russian, Mr. Roylock, obviously catches the eye in the first place. Is the enormous pair of shears in your hand. So I was just reviewing this part, right? The copious spiritual spores. Okay, so this is the part we fixed. I'm not sure. Who would really use shears like that to cut off a beard? I doubt that's something I'll ever have to worry about. It doesn't sit right with me, though. It doesn't seem to be sitting right with Mr. Roylott either. Which means, I suppose, that the deduction is wrong. Let's try to switch a key word here, Naruhodo-san, to see if it helps matters. Alright, but how? I think we should start by taking a long, hard look at Mr. Roylott. I wonder if it's really his beard he intended to use those shears on. Exactly. If we do manage to find something that seems to fit in the sense of Mr. Sholmes' deduction better, then what? And I'll leave the rest in your capable hands, Naruhodo-san. Why am I the one to do something about this? Well, anyway, let's see if there's anything we could even use to switch around in that last sentence. What exactly was Mr. Roylott really going to use those enormous shears for? Copious beard, thick hat. I mean, his hat, I guess? Is that the only thing? For years, you've been on the run in your homeland, and that hat has never left your head. As a result, almost unbelievably, your thick beard was woven itself intricately together with your hat. And now you have an itch, somehow you must reach it, even if it means cutting the hat off. What precisely was your intention with that, Mr. Naruhodo? Just following the natural progression of deduction. Sometimes the truth hurts. Well, the truth is, you do not have a turn for observational deduction. Did that hurt? Yes, a lot. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. So definitely wasn't that. What was this bearded Russian plan to cut off with those enormous shears? If we look carefully enough, we'll find a clue. We need to approach this from every angle. We must consider all possibilities. That's easy to say, but alright, let's see if we can work it out. If it wasn't his beard, what was the man thinking of cutting? Oh, I can turn everywhere. Okay. Coat buttons. Golden locks. Oh, the hair. I knew it. It was the girl in disguise. Okay. I didn't know we could turn around, but it was this. For sure. What's this? It looks like a cascade of stunning golden locks. No. The color's not the point. The point is, what's it doing on the back of Mr. Roylott's head? And how's it growing from underneath his thick black hair? Well, yes, that's true. It's so stunningly beautiful and suddenly surprising. Something's definitely not right here. We'll present this. Come on. Oh! Crack the case. Naruhodo is doing this. Yeah, Naruhodo is doing the same thing. That's hilarious. You are on the verge of using the shears to cut away the golden locks you sport. Indeed, you have identified the precise detail I was intending to expose. the shears is so funny. Such lush golden hair definitely does not befit an old man. You're not a man at all. You're a woman. And judging from the length and sheen of your hair, one still very much in her youth. Oh no! Well, I managed to cut off her hair, no one would have suspected. The question then begged is this: why would you desire to rid yourself of these magnificent locks? Once again, the answer is plain. We have clear evidence to shed light on the matter. I'm sure it needs no further clarification. Okay. So this is the, same thing. Well, that was a shock. I had no idea the old man was really a young woman in disguise, did you? What? Why are you staring at me like that? Yes, it was a surprise, Naruhodo-san. You're enjoying this, aren't you? Sorry? You look like you're in your element as you dance around the room deducting facts with Mr. Schultz. I'm just doing what we agreed. I'm not having fun or anything. This is strictly business. Well, strictly... Yes, I understand. Say no more. Well, anyway, let's focus on the next part of Mr. Schultz's deduction, shall we? The evidence that he's picked out doesn't fit the facts at all now. No, that's true, given that Mr. Rolla is actually a woman. Exactly. He, or rather she, can't possibly be this merciless revolutionary. I suppose it's because the deduction has taken a whole different direction now. Let's switch the evidence for something else. Something that fits the facts as we now understand them. For some reason, this woman needed to try to hide her true identity. I feel as though I've read or heard about a young woman in a situation like that currently. I do remember. Alright, I'll do my best. I indeed remember. So the back. Article about the ballerina. So we can post this. Present. Hi! Oh, he's copying what Herlock Sholmes does with his hat. The evidence that reveals your true identity is, of course, the article about the ballerina. That's right. You've hit the nail on the head. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. Haha, so cool. It would appear that we are finally able to address you by your true name. Yes, because your true identity is that of the Novovich Ballet's prima ballerina. Miss Nikolina Pavlova. Ah! Oh no, it's in the hat. Eee. Papoosh. You're right. My real name is Nina. I mean, Nikolina Pavlova. But please, I beg you, don't tell anyone. The ballerina on the run. Shot duck. Now, as for my second conclusion. You are, at this very moment, on the brink of committing a most grievous crime. And the proof of this crime over there. Oh yes, Miss Pavlova. Taken unawares, people have a propensity to let their eyes stray, you see. Okay, so this is the same. I'm just gonna get to the part that we need to fix. This woman is a ballerina and she's right in front of our eyes, so clearly she can't be inside that traveling case as well. No, that's right. She wasn't abducted at all, in which case, what is the crime this young woman is apparently committing? Ah, I can see I'm going to have to step in and fix a great detective mistake again. You seem to look pleased, Naruhodo-san. Do you like the idea of another chance to dance around with Mr. Schultz? Stop it. Anyway, there must be something else here that shows what this woman is up to. Alright. Ah. Easy. Wow, look at this dazzling tiara. I've never seen anything like it. Are those real diamonds, you think? Oh, Naruhodo-san, try it on. What? Me? Isn't it usually girls who wear tiaras? Wouldn't you like to try it on? Oh no, I couldn't possibly. It's far too beautiful. Why does this tiara look familiar? I feel like I've seen it somewhere recently. well, it's definitely the one she was wearing that she took from the ballerina place. But the real crime is surely this tiara. I believe this tiara is worn on stage by the dancers in the Noble British Ballet, is it not? Indeed, it would appear to be identical to the tiara pictured here in this newspaper article. And if the reporting is to be believed, it's an item worth 20,000 rubles. In summary, the crime you have committed is theft. Oh no! Yes, you left your ballet troupe, unlawfully taking the precious tiara with you. I have no one, no family, no friends. I am all alone and I need money. But I did not steal the tiara. It was a present from, how do you say, an earl of Russia. It belongs to me. This girl's only 15 years old, and she's run away all by herself. She must have been extremely lonely. I'll sip some water. Alright, I will tell you everything. There's no point to hiding it now. Calm, let's not be hasty. What? There remains one unsolved mystery about him. Mystery? What do you mean? You staunchly refused to open this traveling case of yours in our presence. It is reasonable to conclude, therefore, that there exists some reason why you wish it to remain closed. Is that not so, Miss Pavlova? My dear girl, there is no sense in playing games with me. Nothing receives my attention. Indeed, I have a very good idea of the contents of your case, even before I have ever laid my eyes on them. Dear me. Okay, so what is the case? That is the question. Yes, the reason why you refuse to open your case is written on the books on the shelf. It's completely changed his tack with his deduction now. I think Mr. Sholmes is adapting his logic to the changing circumstances, don't you? Maybe, but why has he suddenly brought the bookshelf into all this? It's just a wild guess, surely. Oh, you think so? Well, it doesn't seem likely that the reason why this young woman doesn't want to open her case would have been written in a book that doesn't even belong to her. Yes, that's true, but still, Miss Pavlova certainly did cast her eyes in that direction. I noticed it myself. There has to be another reason why she won't open her case. There must be somewhere in the same area if that's where her gaze is involuntarily drawn. I agree, that's the only answer. Whatever she has hidden inside that case, she reveals by following her gaze in the direction of the bookcase. Okay, so rules of passage. Books on the shelf. Small picture. Is there anything else here? I guess we can examine it, right? First. It looks like these are all the same books that we have in our cabin. I suppose the steward likes to make sure passengers have plenty to read for the long voyage. And have you noticed how all the books have fallen over just like in Kazuma-sama's cabin? Someone has taken a sweep at them. Maybe Miss Pavlova, while she was practicing her ballet? Anyway, the point is we don't have time to look through all these books at the moment. We couldn't even if we wanted to, they're all in Russian. Well, that's a relief. Let's try a look elsewhere. These are the rules of passage for the travel aboard the SS Buria. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. Oh, that's why. It's a pet. There was exactly the same notice in our cabin too. I wonder what happens if you break the rule. Oh dear, I'm sure the punishment would be severe in the sun. You'd probably be left adrift in the freezing cold ocean. Or shut inside a tiny wardrobe for days on end. But I've actually been serving time for weeks now, have I? Hilarious. Okay, let's pick. Hi! She has a pet. Taboo. Yes, the reason why you refuse to open your case is written in the rules of passage. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. Inside that case of yours is something forbidden from carriage on this vessel. That is the real reason why you refuse to open it, thus revealing its contents. As you see, the trunk wobbles from time to time, but no weapon or other dangerous item would move of its own accord. Which leaves but one possibility, Miss Pavlova, inside your traveling case. Oh my gosh. Is the last item listed as forbidden in the vessel rules of passage. A pet. Collision of a prohibited animal. Solved. Deduction complete. Elementary. So clearly, you aren't who you said you were. No, I'm not Grimsby Roylott. My real name is Nikolina Pavlova. Everything you said was correct. You absconded during one of your ballet company's performances in order to escape your homeland. Later the same night, you stole aboard this vessel. Which couldn't have been easy. The Buria is a huge steamship with vast crew. Did you really have snuck on board without being noticed? In order to obscure your true identity, you somewhat recklessly took the guise of an old gentleman. And you intended to sever all links with your past by severing your long hair. Yet to a woman, hair is no trifling matter. My personal recommendation is to leave well alone. So, if it was just you about to cut off your own hair, who was it that let out the scream we heard from outside the cabin? That invertible tinkling of a bell? Why, none other than this young lady, naturally. More like a full set of pipes if you ask me. I was so scared when I ran away from Shanghai. I was sure they would come looking after me. That's why I decided to, disguise myself. No one would recognize me. As a result, you transformed yourself into that questionable old man? I see. I put on the fur hat and fake beard. Then, just before you came in here, I saw in the newspaper, right on the page, there's a picture of me. I was so frightened, I could not stop from screaming. I knew that if I didn't change my appearances completely, they would find me. So I decided to cut all my hair as fastly as possible. I picked up the scissors in my hand and... At that precise moment, we walked through the annoyingly unlocked cabin door. Things happen like that sometimes, don't they? Things do indeed happen like that from time to time. Are those two even talking about the same thing? There's just one more thing I'd like to know. What exactly do you have inside your traveling case? You're right. It's my dear friend inside. My only friend in the whole world. Please, don't tell anyone. If the captain finds out, if you say to any of the crew. Your secret is safe with us, I assure you. But in return, you must tell us, in as much detail as you can muster, about the events of last night. Yes, alright. I will tell you. Well, Mr. Naruhodo? Wasn't it something? Mr. Shon's great deduction? It was certainly something. Yes. I'm just not entirely sure what. At least Miss Pavlova has agreed to tell us what she knows. That's incredible. Indeed, it is incredible. Ah, and one more thing. Oh, yes? What? Observe your wrists. My... Ah! Your hands! Back up again. What? But how? True to my word, I have restored your shackles. When and why? There's still a shadow of guilt cast over you, Mr. Naruhodo. I'm sorry to say. It can't be helped at the moment. Can't it? Really? Anyway, let's listen to what Miss Pavlova has to say. I can't go on not knowing. I have to find out what the speckled band that Kazuma-sama wrote in his diary really was. Alright, let's talk to her. What happened last night? Did you know that someone was killed in the cabin next door to this one last night? One of the crewmen told me this morning when I was eating breakfast. The man who died, he was a friend of mine. Oh. That's why we're trying to find out what happened. Did you notice anything unusual last night? Perhaps you heard a strange noise, for example? Perhaps people talking? Just got here. What have you learned in the case last time? Oh, not too much. We just came into the next room, and then, what happened was that, people, let's see. So there's this guy, and he was holding a pair of scissors. We heard a lady scream, but there was no lady in here besides this guy. And then we actually discovered that it was, this person in disguise, the, young ballerina who fled her homeland to Russia to escape the Novovich Ballet. So if you remember from the article that we had, she ran away, and she was missing. But we found a bunch of clues, and then we discovered her true identity. But yeah, so now we're just gonna talk to her, and, this is the room next to the room where our friend died. So we're gonna ask her to see if she has any, clues to what happened. Perhaps the ship was absorbed in a wild tempest. Perhaps its steam engine exploded. Perhaps everyone on board would have noticed that if that had happened. Miss Pavlova, is there anything you can tell us? I don't know. I'm sorry, but all I could think about last night was what I had done and whether they would find me. I didn't notice anything that was happening around me. Oh, I see. So she was more worried about herself, which makes sense, because she ran away, she's only 15, and she's on this, like, random boat all by herself. You've run away from your ballet company, haven't you? The Novovich Ballet? Yes. I'm traveling to Great Britain, and from here, I want to go to America. I will never dance again. I want to forget everything about the ballet. I will start a new life. You wish to forget? A challenging proposition. When you have that striking tiara as a reminder. But the tiara is mine. I need it to live. I have no money of my own. The Novovich Ballet gives us only a little food and water. We must dance all over the world. I had to run away. I had no choice. If I stayed, they would have killed me. So you ran away to protect yourself? Yes. And the crew of this ship, they've all been kind to me. They let me come on board, and they said I could hide in this cabin. That is indeed the truth, Miss Pavlova. It creates a most intriguing conundrum. Yes, it does. What do you think about it, Mr. Nazarholo? Me? Oh, well, yes, of course. I think we should hear Miss Pavlova's explanation. To what conundrum, I'm not sure, but... Miss Pavlova, allow me to pose you a riddle. According to this newspaper, it was only yesterday that you absconded from the ballet. Now, that being the case, it must have been last night that you boarded this vessel. However, the SS Buria stopped by no port last night. Ah, that's it. Of course. So how is it, pray? Did you come to be aboard? She flew. I know, not flied. Now that I think about it, the crewmen outside the cabin acted very strangely when we mentioned that. It was just after we asked him about the occupant of this cabin, about when the occupant of this cabin came aboard. That is not his business, is what he said. Yes, you're right. He did seem to be hiding something. An angel descended from the heavens, bringing grace and beauty to the stage. Sorry? What was that? It's how the Russian newspapers described one of my performances. And that is how I came here too. I descended from the heavens, because I am an angel. Oh, what? Considering English isn't your mother tongue, your description is very vivid. Mr. Stromson said, I never can resist the touch of a dramatic. It seems Miss Pavlova is the same. A genius descended from the heavens, bringing grace and beauty to a detection, words once said about myself. A quote from a wonderfully extravagant advertisement for the adventures of Sherlock Holmes, in fact. Yes, yes, Mr. Showy. Anyway, it doesn't look like Miss Pavlova is going to tell us what really happened. Okay. Alright, please let your pet out of the traveling case. So the friend you mentioned is inside your traveling case, is that right? I don't think animals are allowed on board according to the rules of passage. Oh please, don't tell any of the crew. If they found my precious, then the burly Russians would bestir themselves in unison to throw you and your case overboard, no doubt. Ah. So reassuring, Mr. Holmes. But what sort of pet is your friend, a little puppy? It is, isn't it? Maybe an adorable little rabbit? You credit Russia as a land with small rabbits, do you? Oh, don't they have small rabbits there then? You may well ask. I have no idea. Ha. You two are miserable bunglers when it comes to understanding the nature of young ballerina's friends. Is it obvious? It must be a chicken. Really? Really? Consider the benefits. A rousing wake-up call, daily fresh eggs. And when adversity strikes, it could satisfy the needs of sustenance. So you'd eat your friends. I'll remember that. Well, it would appear this friend's identity is a closely guarded secret not to be revealed. Ha 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 ha. She obviously doesn't quite trust us yet. There's something I should like to show her, I think. Maybe she might be able to shed some light on it. Okay. Let's see. What should we show her? Maybe this? I mean, she'd be able to read it, right? Miss Pavlova, would you take a look at this? I don't know. I don't know anything. Mr. Nanahoda, you're frightening the poor girl. Oh. Sorry, I wasn't trying to. Okay. Guess that's nothing. I mean, do you show her this? See what she says about herself, maybe? Miss Pavlova, about this article. You look so beautiful, like a fairy. Escape. Of my pictures in the newspapers. The poor girl. She's so young, just 15 years old. For her to have run away all by herself. She must have felt very, very alone. This is the diary of my friend who passed away. His diary? Yes, and he wrote it in last night before he died. Something a little unusual. It reads, 1:23 a.m. I hear a faint whistling sound. And then a few minutes later, 1:35 a.m. It looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator room. A speckled band? I don't understand. It's strange, isn't it? But the ventilator he mentioned joins to this cabin, you see. It's up there on the wall. In other words, this cabin and the victim's cabin are connected together. Oh. Miss Pavlova? Has something occurred to you? Does the speckled band the victim mentioned mean something to you? Or the whistling sound, perhaps? No. I don't know anything. Oh. Uh-oh. Poof, poof. Excuse me, Mr. Roylott. Yes, what? Ahahaha. She put on the costume like in 1 second. Wow, she's fast. Captain would like to speak with you. You must come to the cabin's quarters at once, please. Alright. I will come now. What? You must leave, now. Oh, no, it's fine. Don't mind us. Yes, please don't worry about yourself, Mr. Roylott. Get out! The passengers, get out! Or do you want me to throw you out? Ugh. It looks like we'll have to leave investigating this cabin until later. No! What a pity. Darn. I should have investigated first. And so we lost our chance. Having still not managed to investigate Miss Pavlova's cabin, we were unceremoniously chased out. That is to say, we were quite literally picked up and thrown into the passageway outside. To be continued.